Hi everyone, it's good to see you. Today I'll be working with some mark making that I've created on just thin pieces of paper. You can actually pause this video if you have not got your art materials ready, so just gather anything that you have been wanting to work on, that you have been putting it off. It could be knitting, cross stitching, maybe playing the guitar or whatever it might be. Just bring them forward. It's time for some creative me time. I just love smearing paint on a paper using like a flat surface instead of a paintbrush. Sometimes it's quite fun to explore that. So that's what I'm doing here. Just making sure that not getting dirty. Yeah. So I hope you've been well and you've been taking care of yourself. I have been quite unwell, so you can tell that I have this blistery thing on my lips, and I've had gastro for about a week, so I've been in bed and just trying to manage life with kids and with work. But I'm here now, and I just really love working on these art journals because this journal just gives me so much freedom to express myself. Quite often when I'm working on, for example, when I'm working on big paintings or something a bit more, I guess, finished and polished, there is some kind of restrictions, which is quite a good thing for art. The boundary can give you, in a way, freedom. But for me, this art journal just gives me so much freedom because this is just cheap spiral notebook. It's just a notepad and just a little bit thicker than usual, and I can just do whatever I want with it. So I'm very free with creating this creative journal. And I found these stencil paper thing from a library. They sometimes have a giveaway book section, and I go through them and see if I can find something that I want to use for collaging, and found this children book and it looked really interesting, so it has a really interesting stencil, so this is what I'm using here. Today I want to chat about why it is important for us individuals to work on self-expression, expression through creativity, and just working on that authentic expression, why it is so important. Because there are some posts that I put on Instagram, for example, the wars that are going on and how terrible it is, and I then advertise my ecstatic dance events alongside it. And I just think that it's important to note why I am advocating for both things, like why war and why conscious events. Why is it that we're even allowed to have fun during this very dark times that we live in? And I want to take this moment to explain a little bit about why it is important for me and why I have strong conviction to hold space for people to explore that part of themselves, whether through dancing, movement, creative projects, whatever it could be. It's really a sacred and safe space for all of us to explore that. And it's not only in therapy settings that we are allowed to explore this. It could be even in a space by yourself at home, and that's what I'm inviting more and more people to do. The therapy setting is very important, which I have done years of inner work through different kinds of therapies. And it is also important to have regular practices in your own day-to-day life so that we are connecting to ourselves a bit deeper and just making sense of what's going on around us and creating something new that is just uniquely ours. For example, this collage that I'm making, no one has made this kind of marking in the world before. Doing this kind of practice is that I'm saying this is important. Having this space to explore how I'm feeling right now and what I want to express right now is important. And this helps me to ground myself to who I am deeply inside of myself, tapping into that, my why, my values, my conviction. This gives me the power to then be strong and hold responsibility and really have that strength to look at terrible things that are going in this world without feeling depressed or having that despair that maybe life is not worth living. Maybe life is just so full of pain and suffering that it's just not worth being here, which of course at times I have thought of. I'm very sensitive, I'm very in tuned, and there were times when I was traveling to different parts of the world, especially the poorer parts of the world where there is not, enough infrastructure or comfort to cater everybody in that place. And I was quite a young person then. I was 21 when I started traveling, and it just made me question everything. It just made me so ungrounded. It triggered something in me as well, because it's always not only the environment, but what's happening in my inner world. And I just could not hold that space. So I would rather not look at horrible things that are going on, the inequality, the injustice, humans just hurting one another, which is just not who we are, what we are meant to be doing. We have much more capacity to love and care. So by having this kind of practice really grounds me, and it makes me want to see this world fully without feeling like I am helpless. I'm not significant enough to make a change. And I've noticed with my creative practice and my spiritual practice, I realized that actually that is not true. That I am an individual with my own expression and my unique light. And I have the capacity to hold the light and dark and still have hope in humanity. Because I am so blessed with my life. Just also makes me feel super grateful when I'm doing this kind of practice, because naturally you'll be feeling really great when you are tapping into your creative practice or your spiritual practice, because you are reminded of your light, of your true power. I'm not in this survival mode that I have no capacity to think and feel what is going on, and I have that capacity, and I am using that to live more authentically and to also feel and hold space for the dual aspect of life, the duality that we are living with, the joy and the suffering, the high and low, the ugly and beautiful. It's just all here. So this is the reason why I really prioritize my creative and spiritual practice. And I also hold events like the ecstatic dance events and creative events for others to do the same. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm doing it. And we can sometimes feel a bit guilty that we are enjoying ourselves and we are so in tuned in these moments, and there can be some guilt that comes up, and that is totally okay. It's okay to have those feelings. How I channel that feeling is that I turn it into more of a gratitude practice. I feel grateful. Instead of just feeling guilty, I feel grateful. And how am I rippling that feeling into my day-to-day life? Is it about being kind to your neighbor? Or is it about listening to your dear friend's problems without judgment, or giving positive feedback to people that are doing really well in life? Just by saying, you look like you're really doing well, or thank you for your service, or thank you for this important work you are doing. We all can ripple this effect. And instead of feeling guilty, we can really use this as a power to bring more light into our world. Anyway, I'm just finishing off this, and we have 5 more minutes left. So I encourage you to continue if you feel like you're in a good flow. Just being here and now. Sometimes tapping back into your sensation on your hands or your body to really ground yourself in the present moment. Being in the flow is just such a beautiful way to tap into the present moment, isn't it? Enjoy it. You're here, and you're here and now. There's nothing more and nothing less. if you guys haven't tried pastels before, I really recommend you buying some pastels and some charcoal. I really love to work with charcoal. As you can see, all of these like black marks. The sensory input is super soothing. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. And you can rub it and you can use your fingertips. I just love working with pastels. The downside is it really smudges everywhere. I don't mind it if it's messy or not. Just finishing off, last touches. So if you are working on a visual thing, yeah, just have a think. Is there something that you want to add lastly? And yeah, and that's our 20-minute bucket creative me time. I hope you enjoyed yourself and that this was a beautiful session for you to be in the flow and explore your inner world. And I will see you next time. Thank you for being here.